If you guys missed that last game, you missed a real experience. There will be nothing in Xi'an at this very moment more memorable than Game 2 with IG versus Team WE. Welcome back. Of course, Raz. I was about to say hysterics once again. Welcome back, Preacher.
You haven't made the mistake yet.
I've never had, you know, I can't say I never did because I've always had Clement as play-by-play. But, you know, having you along my side first time around, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad, actually. I think it's very chill. I mean, we have a lot to discuss, especially from that last game, right?
How much do we really have to discuss, honestly?
I mean, it is just a red carpet show at this point, isn't it?
Yeah,
for one player in specific.
It was pretty bad for him. I believe we have MVP, so let's take a look at who ended up getting that one on the side.
I have no idea, Raz.
Boom!
Yeah, of course it's beishang.
Big boy beishang, 10,
kills.
2, and 8. He was running rampant. He got those really early on in the game, by the way. 4 kills based off the first 4 minutes. And then, problem was, he just got going.
That was it, yeah. And in the early game, it was actually very smart. Later on, it kind of looked expected. But this was the very first one that he picked up as a counter gank into Ning. So that was really nice to really allow him to 1v1. But from that point onwards, it kind of looked a little bit ridiculous because he always had the damage.
Yeah, this was the first real mistake coming in from Ning because, I mean, not only was Nar incredibly ahead because of the sacrifice he made, he came right back, ended up dying to it, and really just didn't stop from there.
Yeah, also didn't have level 6, so advantage went over to beishang nonetheless. But this was a great outplay because they were actually just corralling Shy. Take a look. The Shy could have potentially got somebody, but nobody walks in, and he has to burn his ulti just to get some money on his death.
Yeah, get the CS if you can. It really did feel like you're just keeping an arm's reach away from the big boy at the zoo. But yeah,
roll it out.
Came through. This is just the saddest thing, and I love this one. This is going to be the last replay we end up throwing you because at this point in the game, there was a very real belief that Invictus Gaming would come back, especially like after the first Infernal Dragon coming through. And then take a look at this. This is just, I love this because Rookie comes in to be able to save the situation. And then the flash comes through and Ning ends up dying. We just cut the tape as per usual. You don't want to see what happened.
No.
It was pretty gruesome. You actually already saw it. He died at the moment. So.
Yeah, and you would expect that it's always beishang trading off onto Ning as well. Look, we had a lot of questions onto Ning coming into this series. We said consistency is key and dropped the second game, Raz, so consistency is a big X.
He literally had the two, you know, that whole discussion, and it's, you know, political or whatever have you, right? Yep. That, you know, a spectrum is just a circle, essentially, that ends up touching. Not only was he incredibly amazing in Game 1, his J4 ended up picking MVP, he was wild. And then he just went a little bit too far on the other side of the spectrum, and he just got obliterated.
Horseshoe theory, I believe you're talking about.
There we go.
Yeah, in game number 2, it was all or nothing, especially in the very first gank. You saw that he had potential to potentially get first blood for himself, but just that little bit of damage missing out, and then trading it over to beishang snowballed the game from that point on.
Yeah, great job. And I think the primary concern, we kind of alluded to it, but there was a real concern that IG would be coming back. Double Infernal was on the table. They ended up really picking that up for themselves. IG had a great scaling composition where they were looking through, you know, Rookie's Corki pick to come through. The items were coming through and they were starting to pick up fights.
It also looked scary because by the 27-minute mark, the Baron was still up and they were still playing the Baron dance along. And you would have to imagine WE being so accelerated early on, especially with those 2 Mountain Drakes. Why weren't they going for it? Why weren't they pushing their advantage? They eventually pulled the trigger, but they could have done it so much sooner.
Yeah, definitely. Especially since there were multiple moments. One that comes to mind was the heavy invade that beishang had. Remember when he just ran straight into 2 people? He was like, God damn it, we're doing something, right?
He just didn't care, and he was pulling the trigger. Maybe it shouldn't have been the Olaf to engage, but I like the fact that he went for it anyway.
Yeah, because just before the fight, you even said it doesn't even matter how they start the fight at this point. It could be a messy fight, and they'll still come out as victors. And it was very close to being true, and then you started to see the items being accrued by the Varus and the Corki. So real concerns in that game that IG would still find a way back in. And now we're at a situation where it found its way into Game 3. And you could already hear the change in tone, the music coming through, that you better give him that final massage. A very light one, actually. That's an awful massage. Probably just trying to give him a heads up of what champion he wants to play. Team WE has a chance to take a series win over Invictus Gaming.
This is the best chance they've had in quite a while, sitting number 12 on our roster. This would also peg IG very far down in terms of their playoff run as well. So very crucial that, this very last game.
Just remember, Team WE's future opponents, they have a pretty easy one past Invictus Gaming. We're talking about the fact that they go through LGD, Rogue Warriors, and then Victory 5 in Vici Gaming. That's actually such an easy road for them that if we're just talking about their opportunity to make it into the playoffs, it's very real. They can actually just go straight past to LNG or, God forbid, EDG somehow. Like, those are the type of discussions we need to start having for the next 3 weeks of the split really left for us to discuss.
I mean, it's just crazy coming into this series as well because, of course, we're on game number 3. And after looking at just how dominant game number 2 was for WE, it is a reality that they're now facing. IG on the back foot, and now they have to respond. I mean, you can say that IG have had the experience because they've had so many 2-1 victories, but WE in a very similar boat. They've definitely got the experience when it comes to going to a game 3 as well.
IG has that, the fact that they have IG this split. This is just the most favorite stat that Hysterics pulls up consistently, which is why very fair that you're pulling this one up too, because Voldemort. But back to my point, IG has gone to 3 games consistently this split. This one's going to be no different. I want to be able to see what IG can do to finish this one up, if they can. Team WE looking pretty good.
Yeah, no surprises already. The Olaf being taken off, and similarly on the other side, Karma off the board as well. It puts a heavy priority onto the 2 S-tier remaining junglers in the Java and also Sejuani. But honestly, they can go for very good early picks, like, for instance, the Corki.
Yeah, I want to see what we end up getting. That's an Ezreal first pick coming in from Invictus Gaming. Been hearing from whispers from coaches and all that it's the Ezreal that they really find power in. They enjoy the champion, that he can get past the early laning phase pretty easily, and how strong he's able to come into a lot of these team fights. You've already seen it yourself with how Mystic was able to perform in game 2. A lot of heavy priority in it.
But we can also see that WE know exactly how to exploit it. I mean, in the early game, Ezreal is weak because he has to dump 850 gold into a tier, and that takes ages to scale up. So, of course, with the exception of getting a 10-1 jungler, you have to imagine that the Ezreal always has to be on the back foot in terms of the return engages.
Corki and Tom Kench is going to be the response lock-in from Team WE as Ning puts himself on Gragas. That's actually going to be Gragas and Qiyana coming in from Victus Gaming on the first page.
What a rotation, stealing away from xiye, but it's not really a steal because Rookie has played the Qiyana before, knowing the numbers like the back of his hand, immediately taking it into the Corki. You would have to assume this is going to be a really hype matchup. I mean, we saw it in game number 1, Shu on the other foot. xiye actually managed to do some good work, getting a couple of kills for himself against Rookie.
This is when Team WE can show and strut their stuff in draft. No, when you look towards the coach, Dog8 on your screen right now, where is the Corki going? Because we all saw what Qiyana versus Corki can accomplish, but Corki can just literally be thrown up into the top lane. Pose is incredibly flexible with the pick that he's had, and then give Team WE the counter matchup mid lane. That's what I'm talking about.
If you were to fake it out as well, I would like 2 matchups that could potentially go mid. They would be Akali and also the Aatrox, which some people regard as a nerf, some people regard as a buff, but very strong champion, especially the sustain into an assassin.
Yeah, heavy sustain has been the big buff. Ultimate coming out far more frequently since now it's on a lower cooldown. The big change being that you just simply cannot revive. That is no longer a snowball mechanic. It's a trade-off that you end up getting. I want to be able to see what the best Aatroxes in the LPL can do with the pick. xiye has been a pretty flexible player. My biggest issue has been if we're talking about, throwing the Corki up top lane, is Team WE, they don't change. Sivering Corki in the hands of Mystic and xiye has been the go-to of ways they win out games. Is this going to be any different? God bless, please do it for me. I don't even care if there's any reason behind it.
beishang.
Look, I know it's just a hover and Mystic's
What are you
playing
doing
with
to
my
us?
heart. No, I know he's playing with my heart, but please, dog. You got to give me one game, all right?
Stick it down, Raz. And it doesn't look like he's actually going to move off of it, denying it away. Wait a second. No.
Yeah, I do it.
No.
It makes sense. It does make sense.
Yeah, all right. I mean, it makes sense in terms of the composition. You need the early game in order to actually get something happening for your team.
I mean, Renekton is still up and available, and we're also just seeing our the last pick being top lane, so, or technically mid, right? That's the discussion. So I want to see what the Elise ends up combining with, who she ends up combining with to take down. We'll have to see what the full composition from Invictus Gaming is going to be. Kennen being hovered. We talked about the buff that he ended up getting. We all said that was going to be, the TheShy style pick. It gets locked in. I wonder if it's going to be AD, because that's what the change came through with the attack speed changes. Ultimately, TheShy also go towards AD Nico, so it's very natural. This is that now you have double AD carry, double AD in solo lane. Pyke getting locked in by Baolan.
Also partially confirming that it's going to be an AP cannon, or else they severely lack AP damage on their team. But over on the other side, the wonder duo, we were talking about it over and over in the last matchup, could have been the Renekton.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just looking at IG, you would expect it to be AP on towards the Ezreal as we get on with Luden's Echo and Gunblade and all that. And you would expect it to be the heavy AP on towards Gragas. Just never seen, tank Gragas these days. And so Team WE locking in the Scion Propose. He's been playing a hell of a lot of it recently, really channeling his inner Aluka.
And it's also a better matchup for himself than the Renekton. I mean, obviously you'd want it for the synergy, but the fact that you can also poke out the cannon by using your Raw onto minions means that it's not going to be the worst matchup in the world in top lane, although still advantage going over to TheShy just because of the range autos.
And I'm going to have some fun and talk about history and narrative a lot. LEC gets too much of an opportunity to nail that. And the Ezreal being picked on the side of Invictus Gaming kind of reminds me of Kid. While you look towards Team WE, and of course I already mentioned Aluka up in the top lane. And then you look straight towards the jungle position and you're like, hell yeah. You got yourself an Elise, Kandiask even. So I'm loving what I'm seeing here coming in from Team WE.
The early game influence and also being the bridging tool beishang has to channel his inner Condi, especially in this historic matchup. Whoever walks away from this will walk away with the title of having more victories than their opponent until the next time they meet, possibly next year, Raz. So that is a very long time for bragging rights.
Yeah, we'll see if either, specifically Team WE, can make it into the playoffs. That's still up in the air for both teams. Only one team right now in the LPL has locked in their position in playoffs, and that is FPX. So we'll see what ends up happening. Keep Your Dreams has been the go-to for Team WE. Pixels here and there, of course, but we'll get that resolved. Invictus Gaming versus Team WE in Sion. Heavy scaling coming in from xiye and Mystic, and you look towards IG. Action pack from Pyke and the Kiana.
The ridiculous wombo is there for IG. WE have to negate it because, of course, Mystic can just clear out these waves. That's what you have to be looking for.
And this is where mentality starts to come in. The momentum's on the side of Team WE, and the opposite of momentum's going there from Ning. We'll have to see what ends up happening. Team WE, IG in Sion for Game 3.
Oh, some support for beishang coming out from the crowd, especially in a very crucial game.
They may have you surrounded. All right, TheShy's able to get out of there pretty easily.
Taking the E level 1 as well.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times. I mean, it's a go-to not only because you need to get the hell out of there, but also extra dagger. And the fact that he was able to get that buff in the patch notes. So pretty good one for TheShy, but he's Klepto. We still don't know exactly what he's going for, but usually Klepto is the go-to for the AP cannon. Probably considering the point that you made earlier, which is he goes towards the AD, then he's really relying on the Ezreal and Gragas to be providing that.
Exactly. So,
all right, already going in for the all-in. JakeyLove is under attack. We're just looking for one more. So close, and that's a first kill going on towards Mystic. And guess what? They want another one. We're going to be seeing a double kill being picked up by Mystic.
That is ridiculously early, Raz, and I was talking about how they could potentially exploit the Ezreal's lack of early game. I thought that it would be after their first back, but they do it immediately at level 1.
A la the first round of Team WE versus JDG in the spring playoffs, it was Imp and Lumao that got that solo kill to, over Mystic and Missing. Yeah. This time around, you get to see this duo lane coming in strong.
Baolan walks forward and thinks he's actually caught Missing, but instead Missing lashes onto JakeyLove, finds the tongue, and eventually with all of the flashes done and dusted, no E because of course it's level 1, he gets taken down, and max even for the return.
That was a max range Q coming in from Missing to start to get the slow.
And he threaded it between the minions as well. That was ridiculous.
A lot of damage coming in. Electrocute proc from Rookie onto the matchup. xiye is going to be picking up the Corki, much to our chagrin. It's going to be a Klepto Corki too, so much like what we saw with Rookie coming into the first game against xiye. You're seeing heavy trades coming in from Rookie, but it's actually the one who's cashing out at the end being xiye.
Yeah, players enjoy being able to get to the power spike so much faster, and especially when you're up against an assassin as well. You don't actually want to be sitting in lane, so the one thing that Klepto allows you to do is to get to your power spikes and actually leave to influence the rest of the map.
I love the fact, extra bit of damage too, since xiye was below 60% HP off that one. So, but yeah, love the fact that he was leading into that trade with the brush terrain. So the brush Q, essentially making it impossible for xiye to trade right back into him. It's nice to be able to see that.
Yeah, using every single piece of the environment, that makes a good counterplay, although beishang is coming in bot and he's unseen.
All right, no ward. You talked about it. It's going to be Pyke that has an inkling, recognized that he was in the area because of how Team WE was positioning. Baolan super glow. They're going to fully commit to that one. Missing ends up dying for his troubles. That just turns on its head.
Going very far forward as well. The Cocoon missed, so WE should have just disengaged the bot lane. Still 2 kills onto your ADC. Nothing to worry about, but trading one over onto JakeyLove as well. Now you're starting to get to the point where you're wondering, is this lane as free as we initially thought?
That was insane. That was still a great Q coming in from Baolan, recognizing the positioning that they were in. But so much greed on the side of Team WE's bot side. They had a 3-man coming through and a blinking HP bar on Baolan. They just really tunneled in on the kill.
Yeah, the Invisi Census is really good, but missing going way too far forward, once again, you have to ask the question, and now the lane is a little bit neutralized. At the very least, there's no advantage.
Has to flash away. That's how much pressure that Ning had here with Rookie throwing in more DPS.
Now that we have some time to actually check in with how the jungle is going, so much faster clear in terms of the Gragas than the Elise. beishang's invading, but the fact that he's not actually going to get anything out of this, he has to waste the time walking forward and then backwards. There's going to be a really significant discrepancy in terms of the golden levels.
Yeah, doesn't want to fully commit there, and remember that, you know, Qiyana able to pick up 6 here on that wave. Made it incredibly risky to even try for that one more time. Still at the end of the day, while Ezreal got a kill for himself, still at that trough we were talking about. And, you know, Sivir is doing really well for herself. So Team WE can still play through bot side even with that early error.
Yeah, and the biggest problem for the Ezreal is that even though he got a return kill from that failed dive from WE, he didn't have a teleport because he had to burn it from dying at level 1, so he can't actually start stacking his tier. He is more delayed than initially expected despite getting that kill.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him, especially with the amount of pressure coming through from Mystic and Missing. But here comes Ning. He's in the tri-bush and he's about to make amazing happen. Remember, Spell Shield's still there from Mystic, you have to believe, and the Tahm Kench is here, actually turning this one against Ning. Has to flash over the wall with Elise in the area.
Yeah, respecting beishang because Ning knows exactly the limits of Elise, playing it just earlier, but not actually opting to go in for this is actually a little bit of a scare tactic coming in from WE. I mean, despite the fact that beishang is behind in terms of the CS and also the levels, he's still putting up a good fight.
There's still a good positioning coming in from beishang, and so he gave Mystic some mana, but he still wants the base anyways. But yeah, going back to the earlier point, that was a good timing coming in from Ning, even better timing coming in from beishang. Of course, beishang is going to hover over the lane that is going to be trying to fully shove it out, so just well played. Team WE has made a few mistakes in the previous series, but this one they're playing up.
You'd have to imagine that that's the place that he's going to turn his focus. In top lane, though.
Yeah, looking for the all-in. Pose is going to be in a pretty dangerous position, but an Ignite being thrown down on the TheShy means he needs to kite this one out properly. They're going to E in, but he's in the bush. Yep. Respect the bush, Scion, at all times. Backs away.
That's it. It was the Ignite from the spellbook to really disengage the top lane fight, but very good from the TheShy to actually look through it, because if everybody just backs off that no kills given, then so many Klepto procs actually coming out for the cannon.
Want to talk about it? I'm not going to be able to talk about it. All right, let's see what Ning's going for it.
Pose has no ulti because he had to use it earlier.
Playing around the wave. He's trying to at least farm up a little bit more, so well played on this one. The TheShy has to back away because Big Boy Scion's going to be coming closer. One punch. Two. All right.
I was holding my breath for that, but eventually Ning visiting topside much earlier than beishang, simply because beishang had nothing to really do on the topside, can't dive the TheShy that far early on, gives a kill over.
20% slow, not enough for the Ning gank to be respected, but still goes up top lane, gets the first kill for himself. Well done by Ning to be able to get that kill for himself.
And he's actually starting to perform reasonably early on. He's already got the level 6 as well, so expect to see him go towards winning lanes just because he can bot people out of turret range so that they can dive relatively safely as well. And this is looking quite frightening for WE because this is the moment in which you really expect beishang to get onto the map. Spotted out by
Though
Ning.
doesn't know that he have to contest for it. Yeah, he used his Q already.
No smite for him either.
So he's just going to have to give this one away to the Gragas. Sad face. But being contested a little bit, she doesn't have enough power right now. So it's going to be the Shy who is... Respect the Shy. Oh, nice cocoon. Keeps him firm. He actually would have been able to get an excellent ultimate. No, but wait a second. Xiye goes all in, but he ends up using the blast cone to get right out of there. Really awkward positioning. It's IG, they're in the wrong side, but they have so many members in the area, so the Shy and Rookie will be able to get out of there scot-free. Oh no, Ning found a way out.
Oh!
We're not going to talk about that, but what we are going to talk about is the fact that, Poe's taking a lot of damage. Ning taking even more damage. So that was actually being pushed back by Team WE, and they're chasing this one off.
Yeah,
wow.
The return damage onto Ning as well, and that is real, but JakeyLove is caught.
2 games in a row, JakeyLove being chased down underneath turret, and guess what? You're going to be ripe for the pickings. Mystic gets the kill.
Can you tell that they really want to kill JakeyLove in a 1v2 situation, Raz?
Why is Rookie here? Gets killed by xiye. Just an amalgamation of mistakes across the map.
Yeah, they go way deeper than they possibly can, especially without the members to back them up for support. Take a look at this. Baolan has been away from this lane for so long, and now nearly all plates taken for WE's bot side.
It's weird, because literally the moment Baolan ends up roaming, JakeyLove gets dove. But by the time Baolan ends up getting to the location he was initially looking for, the fight is already over and Rookie ends up dying, so this was the very beginning.
Yeah.
This is where you look at and you're like, well, IG's in the wrong side of the map, but they have a lot of members here, so it's actually Pose and xiye that has to back away.
Yeah, and the numbers work for the Shy as well, but this is the dive that we were looking towards. Ning intercepting Pose's Q.
Hugged the wall,
That's
hugged
it.
the terrain, wasn't even able to get that kill, and so suddenly it's awkward timings. Ning extends to try and get the kill, sadly not even close, and so he ends up paying for it.
Yeah, although still 2-1, so not sitting in the worst of positions for this jungler, can still make an impact. beishang on the other side, he got hit early on when he was level 5 and Ning was level 6, so abusing the mismatch because Elise is a very slow clearer and getting the advantage off of that fight.
What an interesting game, because we were talking about consistency. You were nailing on the point of consistency from Ning. You wanted to be able to see it from him game to game. But little did we actually have to discuss consistency within the same game.
Yep.
Where Ning has been actually performing quite well for himself when he was able to get the kill up top lane in the early one through mid. But then, of course, the flash on the bot side over Terra, I think that's completely fine. But the one where you, of course, ended up missing his ultimate is Gask up top that we just saw. Unfortunate. Now, he still has 2 kills to his name. And he still, if we're talking about just based off resources alone, is doing well in comparison to beishang. But you can already see the turret platings heavily in favor of Team WE. It's mostly because, Ning hasn't been able to impact this side.
Yeah, he's also got great damage, which means that naturally he can complement Rookie in the mid lane. The one thing that Assassins need is just that little bit of extra damage to catch out their lane opponent. But so far, not actually getting some successful ganks off into the mid lane means that Rookie's not going to be able to get back into the game.
Yeah, we'll see what we end up getting here. You see Elise in the area, but they're caught on a ward. Nice ultimate, but okay, Guardian's going to be able to protect a little bit of that one, so beishang doesn't even get chipped out. Slow game here, but take a look at this. Being able to pick up that wave, but it is going to be a gunblade coming in from Kennen, so although he did end up picking the AP route, still has a pretty damn good way to split push this lane out. So nice option here. He's going to be finding himself on side lane pretty consistently.
I like to see it, and it's also good because there's poke. That poke can always push back with his E, so that's going to be negated by the gunblade as well. Very good first item to completely nullify the lane matchup.
Yes, and so, of course, always have to be concerned. Baolan ends up getting the Q, but has to duck away because Team WE are in the area.
Yeah, and JakeyLove also back. So WE, if they know this timing, they can actually force the issue and press for the Infernal Drake that's up. Cannot be contested just yet.
Yep, they checked their watch, knew what time it was. My concern is not so much this Infernal Dragon. It's when you roll that precious dice. Actually, no, Ning is concerned about this dragon.
Yeah, he's watching it. He
Ning
wants it. JakeyLove is here.
All right, let's see what we can do here.
What's he doing?
Looking for the steal, and he's dead. All right, well, that's went just about as expected. He tried and didn't flash out.
He had vision. The Drake was on about 2k HP.
Yeah, we all had vision. Sadly, we all saw what just happened.
Yeah, and WE just didn't hit it. Decided to hit him instead.
So now, just based off that Infernal Dragon, they're going to be pressuring through the mid lane. It's going to be IG that wants to find this one pick, but ends up Valkyring over.
This is a deadly lead for WE as well. This is exactly the same reminiscent scenario of the very last game. Obviously, Ning is not so far behind, but still dying, giving up these precious objectives.
That's going to be the Sign ultimate coming through. Kennen actually gets the solo kill on Mystic on the side of the map. This is looking really good from Invictus Gaming. Another kill going down onto Pose, so really weird communication.
Oh boy.
We really want to see the contact behind that one. Mystic recognized that he was going to die. Doesn't want to blow flash. Smart from him.
It was a reasonably good engage because you imagine that WE wanted to get pressure over this Rift Herald, but instead nobody else followed it.
That ward, that bush is control warded, so I just want to see how the Kennen was able to get that. Actually doesn't have flash. I'm just trying to be the investigator. I'm not going to pay attention to the Rift Herald now fully regenning because of the lack of patience. I think we all lack a little bit of patience right now.
Especially in this series, Raz. I mean, we've seen a little too many fumbles for our liking, but still. Man, that was, yeah,
we lack so, okay, thank God. If beishang had found himself into that pit, and I would not, I don't know what I would do with myself.
Oh, but he found this.
It shouldn't be enough. There's no follow-up, thankfully. I don't want to choose sides, but I just don't want the most ridiculous situation to come through.
No, yeah.
And it's really you could tell the production side, yeah, finally they can throw the replay because of so much that was happening. He flashes over the wall.
Yep.
Really well done from TheShy.
And there's no counterplay because you can't E it either, so completely killing the Sivir as well. No ADC in the fight. They can obviously collapse down to post because they didn't anticipate the call.
TheShy honestly is doing his hardest. He's playing really well this series. I think they all are. I'm not going to lie. I think everybody is doing their part here. Rookie and TheShy are having a great series. It's more so just consistency within the game is the name of the game right now, sadly.
They just need to make sure that they stop making the key mistakes where they're giving away kills for no good reason. A good way to do that is actually to tighten up their vision. However, a key point to always point out is that IG are the worst team in the league in terms of statistics when it comes to clearing out vision. So a lot of knowledge available for WE and not necessarily going to be taken away.
That's an interesting stat, especially with how long these game times end up going for Team WE. So one of those, that's an interesting one, mostly because you get both coins, right? The first coin is literally, well, how good are they as a team that they can only, they set the vision down first, and it's like, well, it's a wall now, you can't touch this ward. More often than not, they're not able to actually penetrate much into the opposition side, and they just kind of struggle. You can see that a little bit, and they're a team that actually tends to trade away a lot, which, you know, if you have a scaling composition, they tend to do quite a bit. But taking a look at the items, going straight into it. Oh, wow, you know, going in towards the Infinity Edge, so Mystic needs a little bit of time now that he has that BF sword to himself, but 480 gold was really the only gold that IG was able to get.
Yeah,
focused on TheShy.
Mystic is getting to the point where he could just nullify all sorts of team wombos that IG wanted put down onto WE. He could just sit under a turret and permanently clear every single wave, and that's going to propel WE much later on. And that's going to honestly be the biggest nuisance for IG because they are set up very cleanly at the current moment to get TheShy into the middle of a fight.
I just want to see how much of this game is going to be played within the laning phase and how much of this game is going to be played into like larger neutral objectives, because you saw what ended up happening to Mystic when he has to extend past the turret, ends up dying with TheShy when he's in rotation. And if that's going to be the case, TheShy is going to have a lot of power this game. Not just based off of the split push threat that he has against the Scion, but also what he's able to do is to just dive straight into the back line. He's doing a lot of good work here, and I think he has about like 90 seconds until his flash comes right back up.
The one downside in IG's composition is that they don't actually have a coherent front line. Obviously, nobody can be tanking the turrets very deep, but WE, they're very content to just stick to their turrets. If one of their members of IG actually start building tanky, they can just go right under turret.
Hits him over the wall, but he does have Valkyrie to go right back up, and that's a really good point. I mean, Invictus Gaming, they can never really play the Baron dance with the composition that they have. An incredibly squishy composition, so that's that one weakness, but you got to watch yourself. In fact, that's multiple people on the back line.
Yeah.
Ning doesn't want to get caught up by that cocoon. He actually baits it out. but Team WE finds an exit through all of that.
Yeah, and that's what WE wanted. They just wanted to get out completely unscathed. If they could sit under their turret, then they're the better for it, because Mystic just wants to infinitely push out. It's going to be so difficult, because if you take a look at the purpose of Pyke, he wants to get as many solo picks as he possibly can, but everybody is just sticking together as a unit. He's not going to be able to find it.
Currently, the goal lead is there for Team WE, and they're going to be able to roll the dice on this one. They actually have a pretty good composition in chase down, so double Cloud Dragon is going to be doing them a lot of favors here.
Wow, yeah.
Now we're going to be talking about double Cloud, double Infernal, potentially.
I mean, into a Sivir composition, that's possibly the best combination of Drakes as well. So they are looking in that direction. This is a mandatory Herald just because it was about to run out of steam, but let's see what they can get off of it.
Well, Kiana's up top lane, so she's not going to be here whatsoever. A lot of damage coming down on towards xiye. So you can already see top lane turret goes down. Kiana is committing with it.
This is good. This is good for Rookie. He can just keep on pushing because WE don't have the tools to dive unless Post pulls his ultimate.
A lot of tension here. They don't know where the Kiana is, so they have to fully commit to bringing Corki over. So it was interesting to see Team WE look for the dive through mid lane. Doesn't pan out. And so it's mostly just an advantage for Team IG.
Yeah, and WE can still take this fight from this point onwards because the teleport is available for xiye. That is the main reason why they rotated him to the top side. And now you should be seeing that this is the primary point where WE is setting up their 1-3-1.
All right, what do you want to see from them? You're talking about that 1-3-1.
Yep. Almost
getting there with the Infinity Edge from the Corki. I would mostly say 1-4. I would agree with the fact that Corki is going to be doing a fabulous job on that side lane.
It's going to be difficult, though, because if Post doesn't get many resources, he can't be as tanky as he possibly wants to be, especially into that high damage composition of IG. So you would want to put some resource onto him. Very hard to dive, of course, as well, if he's left off onto the side. Mystic in the middle lane, that's what you expect on a Sivir, though.
Yeah, I just expect Post to constantly be looking towards the fight. He has himself a lot of magic resist now, as you can see through his itemizing. He's going to have to be dealing with a lot with the Kennen. It's mostly the reason for it. And you're starting to see, I actually just want to see what JakeyLove is aiming for here through his build. He has a Vamp Scepter, could be either towards the Gunblade or very likely the Blade of the Rune King, knowing that he's dealing with the Scion pick. So a pretty chunky target there at the top lane.
Blade works out into Post and also into Missing, two very tanky members.
True.
Once again, just have to re-highlight the fact that while IG have a very good Wombo in terms of team fight, their tankiness is definitely lacking. So their front line is the question in terms of who exactly is going to tank up the damage.
Taking a look at it, 20 minutes into the game, 223 CS coming in from a 3-1 Mystic. He's huge this time around, and also not only has IE.
Oh boy.
They found a pick onto a primary target. That's TheShy trying to go into the back line. He ends himself finding himself 6 feet under.
Yeah, and that was just really great sense from beishang to send over the Cocoon. Now the pick is done. They're pushing into the turrets.
This is where the snowball touch to come through. Trust the aim of the Cocoon. Next wave comes through, who's going to be the next point of target. Ning has to watch himself. He wants to try and help out through wave clear, but oh no, here comes Kiana.
Rookie's looking.
Pretty good wall, but he's just trying to threaten them off.
Still, if WE walk away with just that pick, then they're walking away with a little bit of an advantage. They're chipping away slowly at IG. It's definitely going to be a very slower, a much slower game compared to game number 2, but picking out the advantages so far. TheShy not respecting the Cocoon.
You know, pick your windows is how I would put it. You know, 1 minute and 45 seconds, you start to expect these teams to, you're right, slow it down until that point. Vision is non-existent for both teams if we're just talking about the river itself. But there's a lot of WE control wards in the red side jungle of Invictus Gaming. So if that's already there, all they really need to do is just kind of get that shoved out mid lane, come out and really start to place down the control wards just in case.
Getting some vision down is definitely going to be key, but also denying it away. Let's see if IG can actually play towards that style. They have, of course, got the backing of both TheShy and Ning, so they can clearly go forward into the jungle of WE.
They got a pretty small snare, I suppose, on it missing. He's still pretty damn healthy. Good amount of damage coming in from xiye. You have to respect that now because there's a little bit of AD on him.
The pokes are real.
Yeah.
Yeah, WE just want to chip down as much as they can just because they know that TheShy was in bottom lane last time they saw. But now they should be respecting the fact that he can group up.
It's a really weird game. It's an ARAM at this stage. It really is just about both teams trying to get mid lane priority. so they can look towards the next Infernal Dragon. But 35 seconds left, you'd have to believe that IG has positioning here.
This is also a really good time for IG to pull the trigger because Sion is in the bottom lane and he can't actually use teleport.
Oh, they caught him. How much are they going to commit to it? That's a lot of damage on a Ning, but he somehow survives off of that one. Double snare coming through on both Mystic and Missing, but it's time to charge forward. Baolan is going to take quite a bit of damage. Just needs one more ultimate, but here we go. TheShy assassinates xiye. It's still a trade at the end of the day, but this is looking good. Pose, big boy Pose in the back line. This is such a chaotic fight because, oh, that was beautiful from Missing.
Oh, yeah.
What is actually happening this fight?
That is a ridiculous trade. I mean, there was no coherent focus. Everybody was just using especially the wall to their advantage to try and get the terrain. However, you know, the champion who can jump over a wall with their kit comes out ahead.
Beishang still alive at the end of the day. That was just Invictus Gaming trying to outplay the situation. Both, you know, Baolan and Rookie were trying to at least tip the scales in their favor. But now they ended up losing. Beishang is still alive. And now that's going to be a double Infernal Dragon coming in from Team WE.
And the one reprieve that IG walk away is the fact that TheShy actually got a kill onto the backside. So he is acting as a pseudo backline, but Ning almost being taken down in this instance. And also watch Rookie's health bar after the Qs as well. That was the instigator for WE. They know that they have two targets that they can execute, walk straight forward. But TheShy
came in huge, and you rarely get to see moments like these where IG is just so low, but they try and take the fight to outplay. Baolan thinks he's got the kill here, sadly just out of range and wasn't able to get the finishing touches. And this was beautiful from Missing, we already looked at it, but this was even better. The fact that they were able to get the final kill on it, and you have your two last survivors throughout that. What the hell is going on here?
What?
Rookie's probably going to die to the Baron buff.
beishang is dead though, so you got to keep that in mind. There is a jungler still available for IG.
What a game. IG, when tested, are trying to skirmish. Literally just trying to scrap Team WE so they don't come out ahead.
This is ridiculous, and I don't think they're actually going to stop. They're in prime position. It's a 4v5.
I mean, it worked out in their favor. They got the pick onto beishang while we were in the last replay, and so it really slows down the approach.
Definitely does. I mean, despite the fact that WE came out ahead in the last fight, IG still got to fight into them, and slowing the game down to the point where the jungler is no longer there is always a good thing, especially when you fought right around Baron.
Ning's got to watch out for himself. That's a package coming in. I don't think we could even look at the lower left corner simply because of the fight that's coming up and is looming. But that was a golden member. They all died because of that.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. It sucks how that happens. But
can't really outplay that situation.
But taking a look at it, Team WE finally are able to push through. Corki package comes out helpful. Take a look at the top lane. It seems like Kiana is trying to look for a play.
Wrapping around xiye though.
Yeah, xiye is going to be under a lot of threat
They can
here.
collapse.
Wow. It's a lot of damage on towards Post. Can they get the kill? Yes, they do execute coming in from Baolan, but a great response to be able to get the kill on Rookie. Now they're looking to get what is a golden Ning. He's dead too. Double kill going over to Corki.
They're going over, but
Wow, TheShy, but he's exhausted. Not going to be helping out too much. Now it's going to be Team WE walking up forward. TheShy is going to get stopped. He's going to get killed. Huge ultimate to be able to get JakeyLove to blinking HP bars. There is no way IG can contest for this.
MVP of that last fight goes over to Post. Even though he died early on, his corpse just zoned everybody else from IG, and Ning dies solo. Without a jungler, WE can turn their sights towards the Baron.
Yeah, I'm looking at my watch here. We all know what time it is. Team WE are going to be gifted this Baron buff, but you can see just in the minimap, JakeyLove and Baolan are coming over. The teleport coming through from Team WE, they don't feel like it's insured yet, so they want to know for certain that they can be able to pick it up.
Low HP onto xiye and also beishang. That could be an execute.
Baolan could be the difference here. xiye is incredibly low in HP. He has to watch out. You better believe Missing is also in that range as well. They end up picking up. Is there an exit strategy? They need to get the hell out of here. Invictus Gaming want to force the fight. Can they slow him down? JakeyLove trying to get in there. Sion ulting away. I think they have a way out of this, and they are out. Completely alive and with Baron buff.
No, Raz, I was just checking it out, and Baolan actually didn't have access to the ultimate, so no threat of actually executing and resetting with that high damage ability. And IG walk out with nothing as WE get the Baron and all of their
But here comes TheShy. He's trying to be the difference maker. He's trying to be in the back line. Mystic ends up taking out Baolan, and look at that. Mystic, why did you take him out in game one at all?
That's ridiculous. TheShy had such a good flank, and IG could have actually caught 2 people out from WE, but instead they go forward, and they just countered that as well as picking themselves up a kill.
Praise the Helix. Praise the Helix. Team WE are in position to take down Invictus Gaming. Now looking for the inhibitor with so many members dead. One more member going down from Invictus Gaming means it all, and they have him trapped. I'm sorry, put your hands up. Don't resist arrest. I'm sorry, don't resist. You're resisting. He's resisting. He's resisting. Take him down. Wait a minute, he got out. Wait a second, Rookie. He's got the ignite, but he should still be alive. No, Rookie is dead now.
Wait, Raz, are you sure?
How does IG keep doing this? But at the same time, Team WE are just trying to solidify the victory. You can hear the fans scream. They want this win. They're gonna be able to pick it up. Team WE in emphatic fashion take down Invictus Gaming.
Under the most ridiculous of circumstances as well, Raz, the reverse sweep is real from WE. Despite the fact that IG looks so dominant, questions of consistency came through, and at the end of the day, great execution returns for WE.
What the hell did we just watch, Feature? A series that people will not forget, and we were talking about the historic game-to-game matchup, and it was now 27-26 Team WE.
Man, I cannot believe that the advantage goes over so cleanly for WE. This is the most well-deserved bout that I've seen in quite a while. Taking down the team that we were saying looks so in form after the victory over FPX. Guess what, Hysterics? You're wrong. The third game went over to WE.
Unbelievable. Nice call out. But unbelievable that Team WE is now able to take down IG. You're right. They are the only scar to FPX's what would have been undefeated run.
That was it.
And then you come into this game, and it's very obvious who the underperformer was in this series. Ning had a standout performance in Game 1.
He was MVP.
He was. He definitely looked like we came out of that game having the conversation that if he's able to be consistent at that form, he would be the best jungler in the LPL. He's MVP. You know, he's World's MVP for a reason, World's Finals MVP. And then he's had 2 games consistently where he's able to drop off, and it was Team WE that took advantage of that.
It was feast or famine, but you can't talk about Ning without talking about his opponent as well. Beishang going so aggressive with his lead. As soon as he knew that Ning was even slightly behind in any of those circumstances, takes all of his members and rallies them behind him.
It's funny because people try and push away a narrative. They don't want to hear it. They just want to hear about the science, the facts of the matter. And when everybody starts hyping up Team WE and Invictus Gaming, you better believe. All those atheists out there saying, I don't believe in God.
What is that?
I have no faith in Team WE going up against Invictus Gaming. And they come out, they make that stance, they pick up the win, and it was Mystic and xiye that were the main dominators. And beishang, you have to give a call out to beishang, especially how he's able to come out and play in that series. So we also talked about the road going forward. This is when you start to have that conversation very easily.
That's
that
it.
Team WE can make that run going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and even though we say that it's easy matchups coming up ahead, of course, reading them out, you still have to say that some of them may have looked like 2-1, some of them they might actually drop, but beating IG in this fashion, especially when IG had such a good early game consistently as well, you kind of have to say WE is looking on a rampage.
Yeah, looking good. And also you saw the adaptations they were making within the series, right? Within the series, it started out in Game 2 where they nearly almost lost. They couldn't be able to pick up that Baron buff, and it really was them kind of hesitating. And then they go into Game 3, and they just outright clean out. So you love to be able to see it coming in from Team WE.
Yeah, good focus as well coming out from the team. It kind of looked like they were scattered in the loss that they had. However, picking out key members, especially picking out Ning at all times. It's not just Ning being in a bad position. It's everybody on WE tunneling onto him as well. You got to say, I mean, like that last fight around the Baron to make sure that there was no jungler to contest that, it was well done by WE.
It was very well done. It was very well done. You know, Team WE, the story in Spring Split when they were essentially at the first round going up against JD. I know the end story was the fact that JD made that run from 8th seed going into
Brainplay.
Exactly. We're going into the finals, but it very easily could have been in an alternate reality. If it was like DC Comics, right? They would have been able to find themselves. Team WE would have been that team. But, you know, they can't look back into the past. They got to be able to look to the future, and it's looking pretty bright.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. I mean, it was a miracle run from JDG. I'm not going to say for certain that WE could have made the similar deep run, but it is very well played for them today. We can at least say that matched up against IG, WE looked pretty fine.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. But now our focus also turns towards Invictus gaming.
It does.
IG has some tougher games.
They do.
The RNG one is certainly that inevitably that's going to be match of the week.
And not only that, but the BLG one ahead of them, that's going to be a good testing factor for them as well. Now
Very
dropping down to WE, we have to see if they can get over BLG before they can even contest against RNG.
Yeah, I think it was in week 8 in Spring Split where BLG almost got that win versus Team ING. Was literally just one hit off of a Nexus, and BLG didn't do it. But now they're in a pretty good position. I'll say BLG has certainly gotten much better as a team. Have really played around a pretty strong style. And also I'd say that this meta is looking good for BLG just simply because ADD, not only does he have his Poppy that is incredibly strong at the meta, but also the Kled that, I mean, he literally played both. Riot Games buffed both champions. He's in the ear of somebody. He's played this one out well, and I feel like if we're just talking about BLG versus IG, take 2. Looking like a pretty good opportunity for BLG to make a name.
Certainly, yeah. The champions got buff, and also the play style. The fact that you can play so safe now with the added increase in safety because of the vision and also the lack of early game pressure from the junglers. It's all working towards BLG's favor. We have to see if IG can actually do the swing plays.
Yeah, so that's gonna be real fun. Whenever you see these games, you never know what they end up turning into. It could simply just be a bump in the road that creates some drama. It could just be IG saying, hey, you know what, that was fun. We learned lessons, and now we'll just start stomping the teams going forward. What do you expect?
Look, the biggest question is IG came in today as number 4. We were expecting them to solidify a much higher position.
True.
Unable to do it into WE. And the question against both BLG and RNG is, let's just assume, Raz, in a hypothetical, they lose both of those. How high do they actually sit on the ladder? Of course, they're in contention to make playoffs, but it's a much harder run up above.
Yeah, if we're just talking about the teams at the top right now of the ladder that are expected to finish like top 4. Certainly FPX are expected to have another first place finish within the split and end up finding themselves in the semifinals. Then you'd see, wow, my browser's trying to hate me. RNG in second place, top esports in the same area as well. So the top 3 is pretty damn strong. And it's where we're having that discussion, because I know that BLG was something that we were talking about. BLG is contesting for 3rd place spot with Invictus Gaming. So IG and, or at least 4th place spot, I would say that BLG and IG, that set is actually going to be incredibly important to the standings themselves.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to point out. But obviously, even after that, you can't take your eyes off of the RNG series of both BLG, RNG. We weren't anticipating that WE was going to be one of the harder ones coming into the later half of IG's run, but they gave them a run for their money.
I'm going to tell you guys something that you will love. So, you know, in the LPL for the last year and a half, actually just in the entirety of the English broadcast, we didn't get the opportunity to listen into the interviews for some of the players, right? We're doing that this week. We're starting that this week. Right. So, especially after a game like that, you better believe I want to hear from the players.
Keep your ears tuned.
That's something I want to be able to see. I don't know which player is going to be interviewed. I hope it's beishang, and I hope he talks some smack towards Ning. These are something that you want to be able to see, right? Yeah. And now we finally get the chance to be able to see those interviews, have those translated, and, you know, start to make waves, because it was the Ning interview in MSI that got waves going.
That was it.
That was the one where you're like, God bless, I love this team.
And now I would be so mad if there wasn't even one question that was pointed towards beishang's game number 2, because that was great. And if it is beishang, look, we're still speculating, but yeah, he definitely has some questions to answer.
Yeah, so we'll see who the interview is going to be. We'll see who the MVP is going to be. There's a lot that we're kind of just waiting on.
Who do you give your MVP to, Raz?
Ooh.
Of that last game.
That's a tough one. Oh, it's Mystic. I would say it's Mystic. I would say personally, I think Mystic played out really well. There's only one opportunity in which I think that he played poorly in. I can't even say poorly. He just got shocked by a damn Kennen who flashed over a wall.
Straight over.
Like, that was just one of those situations, but he got back up, he dusted it off, and a lot of the team fights, there were moments where TheShy was coming in from a flank once again when they were in a winning position, Team WE was. And Mystic just pushed straight through and was able to get 2 kills off of that one. So great job.
Another thing that I have to ask is, because this is definitely swimming through my mind, do you think that this could have been a clean 2-0 from WE if they just had Mystic in game number 1 instead of trying to explore new avenues for ADCs?
It's always hard. I can never really talk about those kind of situations simply because you're right in the sense that Jiameng had a really bad game 1. And that was a major factor of how that was turning out. And another thing is, ultimately, Team WE really did adapt as a team. That's the beauty of best of 3s, is that, you know, Team WE legitimately played bad in game 1, Game 2 was still a struggle, but you got to see them at every step getting better and better and having cleaner games and just taking fights and not being afraid of them. So it's good stuff. Not only is it a big difference from the first series, that was amazing. Yep. But also we got to see Team WE really grow within a best of 3.
Yeah, it was. I like to see the way that WE actually expanded the way that they played. They weren't, you know, in game number 2 we said maybe they could speed it up. Well, they sped it up in game number 3, and it worked to the better because they just immediately closed it out.
So I want to see who the MVP is on this one.
Bring
Let's take a look at it. Whoop! Mystic, baby,
yeah.
Of course. He ends up getting the MVP. You can see the damage to gold ratio, 128. He was Mr. Efficiency.
He was also doing so much work for his team. You remember the later half of the engages. It was his ultimate, but it was also his Q that instigated his ultimate. I mean, all throughout that, it was a Mystic show.
Oh, and I forgot about how long this game was.
Level 1.
Yeah, level 1, he was able to get a double kill for himself.
Yeah, flashing forward.
Incredible to be able to see them bounce back in my eyes from the debacle that happened within the spring split playoffs, to be able to come in and play just as well. So great stuff. And oh, I remember this one too.
Yeah, the deep dive, even to the second turret as well. They don't care. They just want to kill JakeyLove. This is a great call from Mystic. You don't know if it's Mystic or Missing, but it's both of them in tandem.
At the end of the day, I feel like if we're just talking about those 2 last replays, it's a Missing highlight reel. Missing played super well in both of those. And I think he's had a great game. In fact, some people can come out there and they would be correct and also support players very likely to say that, you know, Missing got robbed. Missing played phenomenally on the Tahm Kench. Sad face, you're not an AD carry.
No, but the stats come out for Mystic, and look,
he just died there too.
Yeah.
Go to your point. Sorry.
Yeah, I was about to highlight him right before that, but I think it's the next fight that really highlights his prowess. Yeah, it's really him starting the fights as well. Of course, this is pretty much just the Mystic show, flashing as well, just to take down JakeyLove. He was abusing JakeyLove in that matchup because he said, Civ is much better early than the Ezreal. I wasn't expecting level 1 to kill him, but hey, he knew his power.
Yeah, that was a lot of power towards the Tahm Kench on that one in the early laning phase. But in that play, when death is behind you, you just push forward, and love to be able to see that coming in from Mystic. So you got to wonder, why did they even bench him in game 1? What was even the reason behind it? But I love the fact that they weren't stubborn behind it. You're in a best of 3. They got to see a little bit more of Jiumen. And, you know, at the end of the day, he didn't perform as well as you would expect to see him perform in the scrim. So that's what that's the only reason why they would be able to come out and show him in game 1.
Look, I'll say it's
got better from there.
It's valuable experience. I mean, especially into IG, one of the best teams inside of the LPL. You naturally want to give your ADC that, but it's a very important match.
Now, of course, I promised you guys an interview, so let's get down to it. I don't know who it is. I'll head over to it.
For the interview translation.
好的，欢迎来到赛后采访，恭喜 WE 赢下了今天的比赛。我是主持人心怡。那接下来呢，我们就和哈皮一起进入哈皮欢乐时光。那我们请到的呢是 WE 的打野选手beishang来和大家打招呼。
from the Team WE.
欢迎beishang。
This is
那
beishang
赢下了
from
比
Team
赛，
WE.
听起来精气神也是非常的足。那第一个问题，今天在主场赢下了 IG 这样队，
You took down
并且
IG
是拿下了
at
MVP，
home
现
ground
在
and
有
you
什么
got
想说
the
的？
MVP. How do you feel right now? I didn't perform pretty good at the first game, but I think
第
I
二把把
performed
自
kind
己
of good
的东西打出来。
at
那么
game
第
2.
三局呢？
So what do you think of the game 3?
也打出来。
Or just
其
the
实很
same
多
as
粉丝
game
啊，大
2?
家都说beishang看起来，你每次赢了比赛采访的时候，看起来还是有点悲伤。
Well, after
今天想问
winning the
贝
game,
商，
you
今
look
天
just
悲伤
a little
吗？
bit not that happy. So are you happy with
今天
today's
挺开心
victory?
的，那多
Yes,
笑
I
一下
am.
好不好？好，第二个问题呢，其实今天看到你
So
的3局拿出了不同的
second
英雄，也是针对了不同的路
You
线。
pick
那每一局
different
是怎么样
comps
去
for
选择
3
不
games
同
and
的
you
针对的
play
人呢？
around differently. How did you make the decision? So it depends on the comp and the situation of laning phase
根据
to
不同的一个阵容来定制打
plan
野路线。
my
那么
jungle
其实
path.
第二局我们看到悲伤的奥拉夫发
And
挥
your
的是非常
Olaf
的
in
亮
game 2
眼，
was
并且
super
是拿下了
impressive
MVP。
and
那怎么
stand out.
样评价自己奥拉夫的发挥
How
呢
do？you comment on your Olaf?
中
Um,
上，那
just
满分是
okay.
100分，大概是有多少分呢？
on a scale of 0 to 100, maybe 70.
就死了2、3次了，就
For I died twice or 3 times
不太
and
爽
I。
那
don't
我们
feel
下
happy
次争
about
取
that.
拿个满分，好不好？好，那
I'll just try to get
其实，
100
在
next
第
time.
3局的时候，我们看到在
So
23
game
分
3.
钟，你的蜘蛛是在小龙那边的河道有一个主动的开团，
Your
是将
Elise
对
had
方
a
的打野
very
打到了一个残血的
hard
状态。
engagement
那
around
当时
the
的
Baron
打出了那一波3换4，你们是怎么样决策的？为什么
How
突
did
然
you
就
make that
冲上
shot
去了？
call to finish that 3 versus 4? Because the enemy jungler was there for vision,
所以
and
还
I
是自己抓
got
住了
there
这样的一个机
to
会。
engage.
那么还是最后一局的最后一波，也是制胜的关键。
So
你
last
当
team
时是
fight
怎么样
of
去
the
决策
game
几个
3.
人去在对方的红 buff 也去牵制，另外的几个人
So
来
how
拆
you,
家呢？当时
what
是
was
怎
the
么决策
shot
的？
called like, and you stall the enemy around the red buff, and the rest of your teammates just rushed to Nexus? You're just for end the game to close the game. So we stall them and finish the shot call.
那么接下来
To
呢
rush
是
to
来自
Nexus.
哈皮潮玩社
And
区
one
的
last
水友
question.
提问，想问到悲伤的是，对面
Beishang
最精致的男孩是谁？为什么？
So, which teammate is the most elegant one?
就只有他了。
Mystic?
就只有他。那
Maybe only him.
主要的，你觉得主要为什么会说出 Missing 这个名字呢？
Missing. Yeah, so what's the reason of it?
不知道要选谁了，就他了。
I don't know who to pick, so I just
因为
picked
可能是
Missing.
因为峰峰最近换了一个比较帅的发型，
Maybe
是
it's
不是？
because
我
of
换
his
发型
new
而言变
hairstyle.
长。好，我们再次感谢悲伤来
And
到我们的赛后采
congratulations
访，
again, and
让我
thank
们
you
关注
for
哈皮，我关
joining
注
our
哈皮潮
interview
玩社
and
区
gonna
参
pass
与
back to
哈
our
皮啤
English
酒
caster.
跨界考
Thank
试
you.
一起哈皮。那接下来要公布的。
Thank you, Iris, for the translations on that one. She's the translator interviewer from the Chinese, LCK broadcast, so that's awesome to actually have her for that one. Not a lot of words coming in for Beishang. He just was upset. How are you upset about that event? I don't even give a damn if I'm feeding. As long as you take that W versus IG, you take what you get.
And 70%, if that Olaf was 70%, I can't wait to see him playing at 100%. I don't know where that missing 30% was, but it was still a very good performance in my opinion.
All right, I mean, I agree with you. Now we got to look towards the standings as we were discussing pretty heavily before that. FPX at the top, 10-1, locked in playoffs. But taking a look at Team WE, 4 wins, 2 series win streak, and the road ahead is pretty damn good.
The slow climb begins. It all started with IG, but the next few games, it looks better and better for WE. So keep watching them in the future standings because they are set to skyrocket.
Now, it's going to be interesting for LNG and EDG. I'll throw in Suning as well, the 6th series win squad, where you exactly don't want to be in the border of 8th place, the border of playoffs, because JD, Victory 5, Team WE are nipping at your heels.
Yeah, so I was actually sitting in the office a little bit earlier. I was talking to BP. I'm feeling a little bit for Sunin, but we actually get to see him on the screen right now.
Yeah, taking a look at day 1 of week 9 with just 3 weeks left. Victory 5 going up against Top Esports is the first series of the day, and the second one is going to be just as good. RNG versus Suning. So the questions that we had for Suning and Victory 5 could very easily just be answered there if they take a win.
Yeah, that's very, very close as well. I mean, V5 is on the cusp of potentially making top 8. Of course, it's a very difficult run going into Top Esports, but they have the history, I should say, of defeating IG in a 2-1 series. So, of course, that is possible.
There we go. I mean, just looking at the daunting task of RNG and Top Esports, or top 3 teams currently in the standings, they end up picking up that victory. It's not going to be nearly as much of as an upset as IG versus Team WE tonight, but it's still going to be having a pretty large impact in the standings we were talking about.
Yeah, and another thing that I wanted to point out is that Suning is very close to the bottom. I mean, they were sitting at about 5th place. However, if you really check out the numbers, only 6 victories. If they lose against RNG, is setting them lower and lower.
Yes, every series matters, but that's going to be doing it for us. Of course, that's going to be me, Raz Muhammad, alongside Jimmy Preacher Fu. I got your name this
wow,
time
you
around.
didn't call me Asterix.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's going to be it for the Dominion production. Thanks everybody out there, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you then.